Hi, I'm Ben Bradshaw, and in this podcast, we're going to leverage 20 years of agency experience and tell you everything that agencies don't want you to know. If you're a small to medium business, an entrepreneur, or even an in-house marketer, we're going to give you all of the secrets, the tips, and the tricks to really skyrocket your business and beyond. So if you want to get the best out of your digital marketing, let's get into it.
Yeah, great. So we have a large team and all they do is just speak to business owners and offer free strategy reviews in their marketing. Like specifically, what are 3 or 4 major benefits that a business will get with speaking with one of our specialists?
Yeah, so I think they'll get a contextual understanding of where they're sitting in terms of their marketing, right, first of all, and also what else is available in terms of best practice. And I remember when I started optimizing Google accounts, I did the Perry Marshall Definitive Guide to Google Ads, and I figured out if I turned off these 2 settings, right, it saved me like 30% of my Google spend, and I got more leads. So for me, it's these little things sometimes that can make big differences in a business. The guy that started Toyota read one phrase in a book, right? So there's these little things that can make huge impacts. So spending that time to go through it, it's that aha moment where you go, oh, remarketing or whatever it might be. My competitors that's ranking number 1 here is got links from these companies or whatever. So it's invaluable time. And I think if you're too busy, then that's a problem, because fair enough, too busy if you've got too much work or whatever. But if you don't have time to stop and reflect and look at what your competitors are doing or where you're sitting in the market, I think first of all you need to be doing it. And secondly, it's part of it. Again, making sure you can implement it is really important.
All right, so I'm one of your neighbours, actually, one of the business owners in your area, right? And I want to start a business. Like, should I do Google Ads, Facebook? Like, do I need a website? Like, how do I start?
Go to justdigitalmarketing.com.au and we'll do a free strategy session for you, and we can actually have a look. But it's obviously industry dependent. So if you're in trades and services, Google Ads works really well or whatever it is. But in my opinion, there's certain things that are like foundational for each industry that if you just have to do, and you've got to make sure it works. So if you're a plumber, you've got to make sure you're on search, because that's how people find plumbers, right? Pretty much, and trades. So you've got to think of it like that: search, social. Obviously, there's email marketing. There's other things, influencer marketing, but there's these foundational things that you've just got to nail as a business to be successful. And we're here to make sure that's in place and make sure that, we work alongside the business to make sure you've got the best strategies in place, you've got the best team in place, so that, as the rate of technology is evolving, we're capitalizing on that and putting that back into revenue for the business.
How would you explain Just Digital Marketing's DNA? So obviously we've got our values as a business, but if you just summarise Just Digital Marketing, the vision and the DNA of the business, how would you explain that?
Yeah, listen, what I'd say is we're a completely results-based business that uses the latest digital marketing techniques to make sure we can maximise your revenue through sales and leads, really. And we want to be fully accountable, but we want to be part of your business. So think of us like you outsource. We're an outsourced agency where you outsource that to us on a results basis. So if we don't get any better results, any more leads, all of that, we're accountable to that. So you could fire us essentially. But so we offer a few things. We offer your time back. You get on and run your business, and we'll take care of this thing called digital marketing. And we'll deliver that in a way that is transparent. So you can see our reporting. We have a client panel, all of these things. But we'll give you a dedicated resource that's dedicated to your business and dedicated to the strategies that we, want to roll out. But first of all, if for whatever reason, like an employee that you're not happy with that person or whatever it is, you can fire that person, but you don't have to pay super, you don't have to go through HR, you don't have to make sure that person's getting trained on the latest results. And that's my fundamental belief is an in-house person versus somebody in our team. Like if we get stuck on something, we can literally speak to the person next to us or get on the phone to Google or whatever it is. As somebody that's an in-house marketer, you've got to know that they know their stuff, and you've got to make sure that they're getting the latest training from the stuff that happened a week earlier. And you're paying like 10 times more for that, as well. And if you're not happy with them, they don't work out. So for me, a good agency is worth 10, 20 times a standard employee in-house, and particularly with AI coming in place, and our team leveraging it and becoming essentially supermarketers, we have 10x our ability to help small businesses. So in my mind, you'd be crazy not to work with us, but at the same time, there's certain things that businesses need to get right at their end, right? They've got to make sure they pick up the phone. They've got to make sure they reply to the emails. And they've got to make sure that they understand how to read our reporting. And, so ultimately, we're here to really drive the small business.
Now, you've built large agencies, sort of disrupting the in-house marketer role. And let's be honest, right, a great digital marketer for a small business, well upwards of six figures, right? So specifically, like, why are we going to outperform an in-house marketer?
So I think there's an illusion that an in-house marketer is more across your business. And I think that's, first of all, needs to be challenged. And the other thing is an in-house marketer usually is either a generalist or a specialist. And if they're a specialist, they're not across the other things. And if they're a generalist, they've got to be really good at everything in marketing. And so I think where they go wrong is their ability, first of all, to just keep up to latest trends. And, with us, because we have a cohort of digital marketers, we get the latest training, we do all that stuff, and we know how hard that is just to keep up to date with us, and we get trained by Google, all that stuff. There's no way that level of training gets done in-house. And then most businesses have to facilitate that training. And I think that's an issue. So that's one thing, their knowledge of that marketer. And then the other thing is their ability to actually implement. So they might have great graphic skills, but then we've get this a lot where you'll my web guy's doing my marketing. Well, a web guy is a web guy, he's not a marketer. And or a web person's marketing's not a really good web person, and this sort of thing. So when you have an agency, they've got all those people in-house, right? So, for us with web stuff, we just help out with our clients at virtually cost because it's going to improve their marketing. And so it really comes down to resources in-house, one person, $100,000 or whatever it is, versus what you'd pay an agency, let's call it 10. And the breadth of impact an agency can have versus what an in-house marketer has. So for me, the risk is lower, the ability is far better, the accountability is better because it's, usually these clients managers will want to make sure that they're doing everything they can to keep that client and get results. If they're competitive, they're competing, and that's not always the case in if you leave a marketer to it. The other thing is you can't manage what you don't know. So if you know what best practice looks like and what good looks like and all of those things, absolutely you could think about that, but you still have the challenges of keeping them up to date, applying latest technologies, and then resource, generally. So for me, it's the biggest companies in the world, Apple, outsource their marketing, right? Their TVCs, everything. So right down to the small business. So as the bigger businesses, as you look, as they get successful, they will outsource. They don't do their own, they'll have accountants in-house, but they'll use big firms to do their tax planning and advice. And it's the same with digital marketing. We know we're in a digital economy, right? So you've got to be working with a team that's all over that stuff, in my opinion.
Now, most of your agencies, from a price point of view, you've typically come under market, if that makes sense. What's the reasoning behind that? We could charge a lot more for what we do, but there's a key strategy behind it.
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to trying to support and help businesses, right? Like, we actually assessed the market this next 12 months and went, geez, it's really tough out there. And we've decided to actually lower certain package prices and not put them up. And it really comes down to this, is at the end of the day, we foundationally believe in helping as many small to medium businesses as we can. And the old Jim Rohn saying, if you can help as many people you can't have everything you want until you help everyone get what they want, sort of thing. So for me, it's about back to, I'd prefer to actually get clients results and make no money than the opposite. I think it's really important it's important that we, agencies get that right, because it really is just tough out there for small to medium businesses.
There's actually more digital marketing agencies than service stations, believe it or not. It is a super saturated market. Can you give me a rundown of the cowboys out there and some of the horror stories you've heard?
Yeah, listen, it's honestly, there's so many. And part of the problem is people follow trends, right? And they think that being a digital marketer is easy, or they can just outsource everything. And we're just seeing so many horror stories, and it's just doing my head in, honestly. And, as an agency that's been around for 18 years, 19 years this year, it's it's pretty sad to see. And unfortunately, the small to medium businesses just don't have a clue how to figure out who's good in the zoo and who's not. And ultimately, the things you do need to look for, though, is ultimately people that have got track record of success, obviously certified, all these sort of things. They're transparent, and ultimately, are they results based? Can they back up what they're going to do? And for me, like I personally, as a business owner, would want to deal with someone that's local. I want to deal with someone that's got really good results and a track record, and probably hasn't been around for more than a year or two. And I think what you'll find is a lot of these businesses are claiming they're AI and they're trying to leverage AI tools, and they've got no idea of marketing, or they've got. So we're seeing the whole AI space being corrupted almost, right? And that's a bit of a problem. And we're also seeing young kids that sort of come literally sitting in their bedroom, putting ads on Instagram, signing people up, and then just outsourcing it all and having no idea about marketing themselves. And that to me is really disgusting as well. So it sort of, it is a really, fragmented industry, and it's a really busy industry at the moment. So you've just got to go to credibility. Luckily for us, we've been in business, for 20 years next year. And, we're really passionate about what the next 10 years looks like. So for us, that's what we bring, is that experience. We've seen more accounts and more industries than anyone else. So that's really what I think people should be looking for at this point in the game, with so much competitiveness out there, is, making sure, are they future thinking? Do they have the latest strategies, this and that? But, just verify the basics. Like, is this guy living in his bedroom? Are they overseas? Check their ABN even. Yep. When did they start their businesses? This sort of thing. I think that's really, really important.
I know transparency's been super important for you. So one of the different things you did when you launched, say, sponsored links, right, is we'll run your ads, but you pay Google for your marketing spend, right? So why is transparency so important to you when running an agency?
Well, I think it really comes down to the value we bring is ultimately about keeping Google accountable first and foremost, right? Is making sure that not pretending that, when basically Google first came out, like, we were lucky enough to have started our businesses back when people didn't even know you could put ads on Google or these sort of things. And what we found there was a lot of agencies doing what I call the cloaking model, where they'll take a lot of the spend off the customer, put 15% spend on it. That's another one still going today, right? We'll charge you 15% agency fee. Now, to me, that I'm more vested in you spending more money if I'm getting a percentage of spend, where I should be more vested in saving money. So what we do is just have a fixed fee that we can be fully accountable with no contracts. So every recommendation I give to that client is completely agnostic, it's completely unbiased, and it's in their best interest. So that's foundationally number one. And then secondly, it's their account. If we ever, they go, thank you very much, appreciate all the work you've done, we've simply helped and improved that account. They own that account. So we do feel really passionate about it because, I was a small business, right? It's really, it's disgusting what goes on out in the industry, just broadly speaking. And agencies have a lot of power with recommendations, what you can do, the changes you can make, and things like that. So first and foremost, small to medium businesses need to make sure that they retain the ownership of all of their advertising accounts at all times. That's foundationally number one. And secondly, that the reports you're getting from the agency or from the same reports that are in the platforms themselves, right? And we've seen people change metrics to make them look better. We've seen people not provide reports. All of the horrible stories out there. So unfortunately, it is. There is some bad things that have happened, and we've heard with agencies, and but I think if you just kind of get back down to basics around, if this agency is accountable for my results, yes. Do I have the ability to fire them? Yes. Do I get do I own the account? Absolutely. Like, these things are essential. So yeah, I am passionate about it, purely because if we don't care about small to medium businesses' growth and their success, then that's essentially a bad place.
Very passionate. What about for a client who's onboarded with Just Digital Marketing? If we zoom out first 3 to 6 months, what sort of experience would you expect that client to have?
Yeah, so first of all, I think you would feel relieved to know that the marketing is just running and nailed in every respect, right? So the end game is that, it's not always sometimes about world domination with marketing. It's about making sure that this thing that I'm not fully winning at, maybe in marketing, or I'm confused about, just to make sure that all of that's in place, it's running, I'm getting leads, and I can now sit back and not have to worry about this marketing stuff. So I think, first of all, that would be a good place as a benchmark to go. I'm leveraged ultimately, and that's first and foremost. And secondly, it's maintenance at that point, because sometimes the ocean of marketing is always moving, right? And it's important that as we work with your business, we're learning constantly about new product prices, new services. So there's a lot of value in IP that we start to get as digital marketers, but then we've got to apply that and keep abreast of what's going on out in the market and making sure we're constantly giving them the next dynamic strategy of what to do next. So I think at 6 months you'd be really comfortable about the relationship that we've built. You'd be sitting back feeling quite leveraged, but then you'd also be wanting to make sure that you've got really clear plans for the next 3, 6, and 12 months.
A lot of our clients often come on with, say, a Google or a social product, but then end up doing SEO and TikTok, right? Like, why is it important for a business to not just focus on one channel, but be holistic across all channels? Yeah,
it's a great question. The reason is, and I wrote a bit about this years ago in a book of traffic conversion retention, and the idea of traffic is not just to rely on one source of traffic, because if you build your whole business, and we've seen it happen, right, where a business builds its whole livelihood around SEO, for example. I don't believe in ads, or don't believe, and then all of a sudden Google comes along and slaps them, they lose all the rankings, and they've got to start firing people. So ultimately, stability is what you want. And so you want to have multiple traffic sources in terms of lead generation. So, Google Ads is great, say, for most businesses, but you've also got to make sure that you've got your SEO working. You've got to make sure you've got, social, but they all complement each other at the same time as well. So if you do, and I forget the latest study on it, but it was about, at the time, around 40-50% improvement on both channels by doing, so say if you had Google Ads and then you do SEO and you're ranking in the thing, you have an overall better chance of capturing that lead from your competitors. So you want to think synergistic marketing, and that's, so it's really stability is one thing, of making sure you've got multiple ways of getting leads in. And you also then want to have a leverage of a budget. So say now that's profitable, 80-20 rule, right, where most of that's all profitable. You want to allow 20% for experimental campaigns. Let's try doing TikTok or whatever it might be, right? Or even within new keywords you haven't tried before in your existing campaigns. So I see that happen a lot too, where people get comfortable and complacent. All those things are important.
All right, Ben, to finish, just pretend I'm a new customer, right? You've just bumped into me in an elevator of all sorts, right? And you've got 30 seconds to 40 seconds to pitch me about why I should come on board for Just Digital Marketing. What's your elevator pitch?
Do you think digital marketing is important?
I do, yes.
What do you currently do with your marketing now? Do you do it in-house or?
Yeah, I've got an in-house person, yep.
Great. Right now, if you were to fast forward 3 months, 6 months, do you feel comfortable that you actually have fully applied the latest digital marketing techniques and strategies?
I don't think so, no.
Do you think that potentially working with somebody that's performance-based, fully accountable, can really get results for your business, that cares about your business, would provide additional value to your business?
Potentially, yeah.
Would you be open for me personally to have a quick look at your marketing to see if your in-house marketer is doing their job and whether there's any additional opportunities that you're going to potentially miss in 3 and 6 months' time?
Don't see why I shouldn't.
What are you doing next Thursday? Yeah.
Sold. And what about like just over 30 seconds? Just I know you're passionate about creating new businesses, but what is just digital marketing? And yeah.
Yeah, listen, Just Digital Marketing is a response to us. I mean, we've been doing digital marketing for 20 years and we've realised that the market is full of cowboys. A lot of people, don't know what they're doing if they are an agency, and it's all disconnected. So what we want to do is bring our supermarketers to the table on a fully accountable basis, a performance basis, and making sure that we basically use the latest tools, technologies that's available to us, and make sure that we've got a flexible package that works for a customer, right, that's accountable. So the way to think of JDM is that we are essentially a part of your business that you can fire at any time because we're results-based. And we have the ability and the bandwidth to kind of go anywhere. And that's a big statement, but ultimately we're a tenured big team that's been doing this for a long, long time. So JDM for us is about offering a service that a business owner can get on and just run their business and know for a fact that we've got everything covered. Not just Google Ads, not just SEO, but their content, their website, and everything in between. And that they know that we're on a model that's fully accountable and performance-based and is ultimately in their interest to get results.
This is the year when we know